What's up, my people? How you doing today? I hope you're doing good. This is Dalton, and I'm coming straight at you today. And recently, I had some events happen in my life that I want to address an issue, and I want to talk to you about the N word. Yeah, okay. First of all, I come to a level in my life and an age in which I am no longer going to be going by a script to make someone else feel happy. Okay? I'm not going to be going by a script, make sure I fit myself like a robot into a puzzle of someone else's life to make them happy, and knowing that it does not make me happy. And definitely not going to be going by a script that someone else creates because of their lack of self esteem, however they try to rationalize it, to make them happy. Now, I admit, I'm not perfect. And I've used the N word in the past. And out of anger, I may slip and use it in the future. But I will consciously do my best not to. Now, I remember when I lived in Texas, I would walk by some young Latin kids, high school kids, that I heard them talking before I walked by them, and they wasn't using the N word. But when I walked by them, they made sure they loudly used the N word. Okay, especially in groups, as if it was okay. Evidence have shown, you look at incident at Popeyes, incidents that happen all over on the news, and some unreported incidents of violence that happen, that the N word, no matter how much a person try to rationalize it, brings up anger, hurt, and pain. And it's supposed to. If you look at the history of it, part of what happened is that slaves were brought over, men and women. And when I say slaves, most people just think I'm talking about black and African. That was the majority. But when the slaves came over and they tried to escape for freedom, there were many small groups of white people that tried to help them. And if they got caught, they were then put into slavery. A lot of people don't know that. It's the truth. And it was different forms of slavery that they were put in. Some of it was servitude, where they had to work for free under a master until their punishment and debt was paid off. Now, the slaves were brought over. Make this quick. They were whipped, tortured, and beaten, and forced to take a name that was not theirs. That was one level of breaking them. And this was the men and women whipped, hung, almost to death, and then released once they accepted a name that was not theirs, then after accepting and being humiliated and accepting a name that was not theirs, they were then called the N word to make it even worse. So they were forced to accept a name that wasn't theirs, and then they were pushed down and made to call N word. Now, I want you to understand racism isn't a race, it's not a color, it's an energy. And what I mean by that is, I used to dance at a club, but I also helped out security. And what we would do if we saw an incident, something illegal or something bad or fight or whatever happening in a particular area, kind of give a certain signal and kind of let the security know. They had their own signal. We all had a signal. Let the security know something's about to go down in this particular area, and we would do that. The reason for that is because anger and people fighting, it's an energy. And if you don't nip it in the bud, it just go to the next person and the next person and the next person. People in security, bouncers, they're educated on that fact. That's why they have to stop it before it spreads. Okay. Same thing with racism. It has a lot of different colors. And what people usually do, they try to use some form of rationalization to cover it up. But this energy just spreads. Like love, like anger, like hate, any other energy, it spreads. At some point, you need to nip it in the bud. And I want you to get